যদি সবাই ফিরে যায়, ওরে ওরে ও ভাগা সবাই ফিরে যায়, যদি গহন পথে যাওয়ার কালে কেউ ফিরে না যায়, তবে পথের কাটা তুই রক্ত মাখা চরণ তলে একলা দলরে, তুই রক্ত মাখা চরণ তলে একলা দলরে, যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে। যদি আলো না ধরে, ওরে ওরে ও ভাগা আলো না ধরে, যদি ঝড় বাদলে আধার রাতে দুয়ার দেয় ঘরে, তবে বজ্রানলে আপন বুকের পাঁজর জ্বালিয়ে নিয়ে একলা চলো রে, আপন বুকের পাঁজর জ্বালিয়ে নিয়ে একলা চলো রে, যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে। একলা চলো, একলা চলো, একলা চলো, একলা চলো রে।
Hi guys, thank you for joining the live stream. I hope the audio is coming fine. Yeah, let me just introduce the context and then I'll set myself in a smaller size. I think there is some dirt on my camera. It looks a little foggy, right? I'll have to wipe it harder. I did wipe it. So anyway, thanks for joining, guys. By the way, I'll have to answer Mr. Malda Babu's comment here. Where's the comment? Yeah, he's asking, Dada, why is Modi ji in the thumbnail? It's a very good question because I actually consciously thought of it. That since the topic is relocating Hindutva in Bengal's political landscape, this is a paper. This is a very recent and tatka paper. Okay, this was published in 13th October 2025. So the two authors of this paper, one of them is Professor Zaad Mahmood. He is a professor of political economy in Presidency University, assistant professor, and the other person, Niladri Chatterjee. He is a researcher. I don't know, his bio in different websites showed that he's some sort of a researcher in Oslo University and some other terminology I couldn't understand. What's wrong with my hair? He's also in Finland as well. But anyway, so I thought, okay, I'm putting their faces. Whose face do I put to denote Hindutva? My first thought was, of course, Savarkar. Then I thought, well, Savarkar's Hindutva is not popular at all. Some urban right-wing kids only blabber about it. Everyone else pays lip service to it. And Savarkar's Hindutva is especially not what's going on in Bengal. So then let's put Modi ji here because it's Narendra Modi kind of a Hindutva going on. So therefore, okay. Let's see. So the paper has been I discovered this paper. It's open source paper. Okay, you are usually asked that who wrote this paper and stuff, or where can we find it. This one you all can find online just by googling. This is the name of the paper: Relocating Hindutva in Bengal's Political Landscape. So I don't know if it's favorable or harshly critical or unfairly critical. It's not going to be favorable, of course, considering the background of the people writing this paper, or in the departments where these papers are written, or the journals. But I'm just curious, what do they have to say about it? Forum for Development Studies. Rutledge, Taylor and Francis Group. Let's see. This is a pretty short paper, so I have plans for another live stream after this. We'll probably get back to Max Weber's book. Let's see. Relocating Hindutva in Bengal's Political Landscape. Niladri Chatterjee and Zaad Mahmood, Department of Cultural Sciences, Center for Concurrences in Colonial and Post-Colonial Studies, Linnaeus University, Växjö, Sweden. That's probably how it's pronounced. Yeah, that's where Niladri Chatterjee researches in. Also, Department of Culture Studies and Oriental Languages, University of Oslo, Norway. My goodness. See, Niladri Chatterjee is part of both these institutes, and that's what happens when your countries are the size of a neighborhood. You can be a researcher in 2 different countries. Department of Political Science, Presidency University, Kolkata, India. These are the institutions associated with this paper. So the abstract. This article examines the trajectory of Hindutva politics in West Bengal through the national and state elections between 2014 and 2024, a state that has remained unusually resistant to the Bharatiya Janata Party's wider national dominance. Drawing on election data, survey reports, and secondary sources, the study analyzes how regional identity, welfare politics, and organizational structures intersect with the ideological spread of Hindu nationalism. It argues for an analytical distinction between political Hindutva, embodied in BJP's electoral project, and cultural Hindutva, propagated by the RSS and its affiliates. While the BJP's performance has faltered in successive electoral contests, the resilience of the TMC, anchored in populist welfare transfers and the mobilization of Bengali cultural identity, has curbed its expansion. This is interesting. I guess the Joy Bangla is their slogan. Otherwise, I was thinking that did the researchers here just admit that Bangla Pakho is funded by Trinamool? I don't think that's what's insinuated here. Yet, electoral setback does not equate to the erosion of Hindutva as a socio-cultural force. The paper shows how cultural Hindutva advances through grassroots mobilization, educational networks, religious festivals, and community-oriented initiatives that expand its social base across marginalized regions. I guess this is the famed secret 4 ditches ground level works of RSS that we keep hearing about. I think that's what they are talking about here. By tracing these dynamics, the article highlights West Bengal as a critical site where competing logics of political patronage, regional subnationalism, and Hindu nationalism intersect. The analysis underscores that Hindutva in Bengal cannot be reduced to electoral outcomes. Rather, it is a layered and evolving project whose cultural dimensions continue to expand despite political reversals. In doing so, the paper contributes to broader debates on the relationship between populism, identity politics, and the endurance of ideological movements in democratic contexts. Introduction. Okay, this is an interesting comment, so we'll just take it. Towards Truth is saying, what exactly is Hindutva and how does it differ from Hinduism? Is this an extension of Hinduism or as a separate ideological movement? This question is for the guests and for you. Please answer. Yeah. Hinduism is the religion. Hindutva is a political project involving the people who follow Hindus. It's for their protection, safety, which we are seeing is gradually getting more and more harmed. There's a trajectory of harm towards Hindus, which is forever going up. Whether how much of what we consider Hinduism today, to what extent, to what lands were those practices extant, and how that land has shrunk and shrunk and shrunk with settler colonialist societies coming up in Pakistan, Bangladesh, then the exoduses, ethnic cleansings of Hindus in Kashmir, etc. Different other anti-Hindu activities, riots, policies. For example, the Hindu temples not being free, whereas every other institution being free, only Hindu institutions not being allowed to teach their theology or even their philosophy, their wisdom to students who are in their institutions run by them. They are the ones not allowed. So Hindutva is a political project that seeks to address this issue. Now, what are the contours of it? What are the do's and don'ts, non-negotiables of Hindutva? There, it's a completely open-ended question. Different intellectuals have conceptualized Hindutva in different ways. I personally believe in the Savarkar way of Hindutva. Niranjanda, what do you think can be done to increase Hindu population rate? Apurva, your question is a bit tricky because there are 2 things that can be done to increase the overall population rate of the country. If you ask how can only Hindu population increase, or what can be done to increase specifically the Hindu population, not the population of other religions, there we go into what was the term? Apartheid territory, which is not going to be, I think, looked favorably upon by anybody relevant in the entire world. So we'll face a lot of problems if we do that. So especially my solutions cannot be done that way just for Hindus, etc., because then it will be completely apartheid, which is give tax incentives for people with more than one kid, okay, tax breaks, and tax people who don't have kids extra hard, okay, more than we already are. That's the way to increase the population rate. Yeah, Nyan is saying Hindutva is Hindu resistance against foreign forces. Yes. Okay, let's continue. While the BJP suffered significant electoral reversals nationally in the 2024 Lok Sabha election, its losses in the state of West Bengal defied prevailing patterns of opposition gains. Unlike other states where anti-incumbency against BJP-led governments fueled opposition victories, West Bengal witnessed a decline of the BJP despite its principal opposition status. This article interrogates the declining fortunes of the BJP in West Bengal, provides some potential reasons, and argues that electoral metrics alone obscure a deeper sociopolitical transformation occurring in the state that decouples the cultural dissemination of Hindutva from the electoral fortunes of the BJP. It's a very, very subtle and interesting topic to take up for a paper, I think. This is good scholarship. Let's see how honest they are, but so far so good. Neon is saying, but won't the tax break thing just incentivize desert homies to yeah, exactly what I said. So if you want uniform laws, I have an answer for you. If you want apartheid laws, I don't have an answer for you. The declining fortunes of, okay, where did it go? I pressed the wrong key. Cultural dissemination of Hindutva. There might be other ways. If the temples are free, after that, temples may pay people or take care of one kid if a Hindu couple has more than one kid, etc. Those kinds of things can happen. That's up to the Hindu institutions, of course. The declining fortunes of the BJP. Observers of the 2024 Indian election attribute the electoral setback of the BJP primarily to grievances over governance like economic distress and pandemic mismanagement, and the increased opposition cohesion through the IND alliance. More nuanced regional studies highlight the inability of Hindu nationalism to counter identity based counter mobilization as a factor for the electoral outcome, which is why Savarkar is not in my thumbnail, which is why Modi is in the thumbnail. At first glance, West Bengal corroborates the success of regional identity based mobilization in containing the BJP. Here, the ruling TMC relied on a combination of welfare populism and linguistic identity based counter mobilization to frustrate the electoral ambitions of the BJP. If we take into account some allegations from a lot of seemingly credible people, then these are not the only reasons, right? Then we'll have to take into account how a certain election advisory company put in their own people, substituting government employees who had login and ID passwords of the government employees, and they did all sorts of shenanigans with the voter database, and random people were allowed to vote. In fact, the former head of that organization, it was recently found out that in fact his name is there in the voter lists in West Bengal, even though he has never lived in West Bengal. And yet the strategies adopted by the TMC, we argue, paradoxically facilitate the conditions for the entrenchment of Hindutva. To make sense of this contradictory dynamic, we need to distinguish between political and cultural Hindutva. The former signifying mobilization for state power through communal polarization, and the latter a socio-cultural transformation project through education, festivals, and symbolic reordering of public life. So that one is allegedly being done by RSS. This distinction draws on existing literature that highlights the interconnection between the BJP associated social and cultural movements and the strength and shape of the opposition in determining the politics of Hindutva. As we find in West Bengal, the BJP's electoral decline from 18 seats in 2019 to 12 in 2024 coincides with the RSS's unprecedented expansion, doubling shakhas to 2,000 and tripling educational institutions since 2011. The divergence underscores a core thesis, which is Hindutva in Bengal is not receding but relocating from electoral politics to cultural infrastructure, um, which, in my opinion, is not. Uh, fuck it. Okay, let's check out the footnote. The BJP has been similarly contained by linguistic identity-based welfare populism in other states, including in Tamil Nadu, where the presence of two Tamil populist parties have rendered the BJP a marginal player so far. In Odisha, the BJD for long also contained the BJP through similar strategies. However, the fact that the BJP in 2024 managed to appropriate the Odia Pride agenda with great success also shows the potential limits to identity-based welfare populism as a strategy of containment. This relocation is relocating from what? Relocating from political Hindutva to cultural Hindutva. This relocation is the outcome of not just the BJP's political maneuvering and the work of the RSS, but of the TMC's strategy of political containment as well. The TMC's governance model, characterized by transactional identity politics and religious performativity, good stuff. They are saying Trinamool's hulabaloo about Hinduism and temples and cultural festivals and Durga Puja is performative. This is a good paper then. This so far has a pretty neutral tone, I think. Wait, my glasses are extremely dirty. I need to wipe them off. It's been dirty since I worked out with them, and a lot of sweat fell on the glasses, and I forgot to wipe them. Now that the ring light is on my face, I am not being able to see anything. Shit. Just wait, guys. Sorry. Okay, let me see some comments. This is basically paper on the work of RSS disguised under the name of BJP. Neon is saying, can it be done covertly? For example, how allegedly American government pushed abortions and Planned Parenthood for a specific community of color. Theoretically, yes, but who's that government? And the population of blacks back then was way lesser. They were way more powerless than the people you don't want to have kids today. The TMC's governance model, characterized by transactional identity politics and religious performativity, inadvertently normalizes Hindutva's cultural lexicon while resisting its political expression. This is so brilliant, guys. Isn't this so fucking accurate, guys? Check this out. Trinamool's religious performativity is inadvertently normalizing Hindutva's cultural lexicon. Okay, yes, even I am a proud Hindu. Even I celebrate Navratri. Even I take selfies on Ashtami. Even I like Ma Durga. But while resisting the political expression meaning going into Savarkar territory. So, and hence, all my attackers are devout Hindus themselves. I can hear at least two of them daily chant Hare Krishna and Jai Ma Kali each and every day, twice a day. So you see, this line is so accurate. In the following sections, we expand on these issues by focusing on the current limitations of the BJP's electoral expansion in West Bengal, but at the same time, demarcating electoral outcomes from the ideological influence of religious nationalism. We highlight the adaptive resilience of Hindutva through cultural entrenchment and show how regional parties like the TMC, despite secular claims, enable religious nationalism through governance practices. By tracing Hindutva's dual trajectories, electoral decline and cultural diffusion, this study reframes West Bengal not as a bulwark against majoritarianism, but as a site of its reconfiguration. I see the point of the paper. And this might be the long game, and hence the setting issues every now and then. Apurvo, yes, it does. And yes, that is what the paper is saying. My problem is that I don't consider this to be a very fruitful thing or Hindutva. Apurvo, I'll change my glasses when either they go to jail or pay for it. Or pay for the glasses and pay for all the damages. The development of political Hindutva in West Bengal. Political Hindutva in West Bengal manifests as a dialectic between ideological ambition and regional political constraints. its trajectory defined by volatile electoral fortunes rather than linear progression. The BJP's journey from marginal presence to principal opposition and subsequent decline from 40.7% votes and 28 seats in 2019 to 38.7% votes and 12 seats exemplifies how, and that's not just because of people not simply refusing to vote for BJP's policies, right? That also needs to be remembered. Firstly, a lot of the people who voted in 2021, 2020, 2019 are dead. They died in the war against Hindu fascism after the 2021 polls. Most of them are dead. And their relatives are obviously too afraid to go out to vote. Even if they are brave, they are not going to be allowed to reach the voting booths to vote. So all those factors are there. And people who don't even know those people who might be supporters or workers of BJP, they are also fed up with the lack of safety and security. So they also might not have voted in 2024. So that decline exemplifies how Hindu nationalism's political expression remains contingent on intersecting factors: national momentum, opposition vulnerability, and crucially, the resilience of regional counter strategies anchored in welfare populism and subnational identity, as currently and persistently pursued by the BJP, by the TMC. Historically, the BJP had been a marginal force in the state since its inception in 1980, even though the Jang Sangh and Hindu Mahasabha, the organizational and intellectual predecessors of BJP, has had historical roots in Bengal. Uh, and this is what people outside Bengal still can't fathom. Why? How? They still wonder. Anybody who still wonders that how in the land of Shama Prasad and the founding of, and let's say so many supporters of Jansang, Hindu Mahasabha, etc., how can it be this way? Anybody who asks that question, who wonders that question, you must know that that person might have good intentions, but they are pretty clueless about Bengal. So when such people talk about Bengal's future and stuff, or predict elections, you must not listen to them. The strategy of the BJP to expand its presence has historically relied on symbolic engineering of regional and national identities and alliance building with regional parties. Recognizing the limitations of uniform cultural symbols like Ram, the BJP in the late 1990s recalibrated its strategy to emphasize on unifying national symbols tailored to regional contexts, thereby fostering Hindu unity through multiple localized historical references. In West Bengal, the BJP attempted to appropriate cultural icons like Vivekananda, Subhash Chandra Bose, and Bankim Chandra Chatterjee to combine regional pride and Hindu nationalist narratives. Such symbolic strategy was supported by regional alliance building, which included the TMC in West Bengal between 1998 and 2004. Despite this, BJP's pre 2014 irrelevance, securing 0 to 2 parliamentary seats and a vote share of less than 10%, was due to the dominance of the left. Decades of left front rule prioritized class based mobilization that posed challenges to the quote unquote symbolic engineering of the BJP. The left front, led by the CPIM, perceived BJP's strategy as an effort to undermine secular ethos and class politics, thereby asserting a discursive struggle over political identity. As politics in West Bengal shifted with the ascendance of the TMC in 2011, Hindutva's political ambitions appeared confined to cultural groundwork by the RSS through shakhas and social service networks in marginalized regions like Jangal Mahal. The TMC's politics of regionalism and welfare patronage, and the opposition space dominated by the left and the Congress, meant little room for the BJP. This situation changed dramatically post 2014 when the BJP capitalized on Narendra Modi's national ascendancy, anti incumbency against the TMC, and the collapse of the left Congress vote base both individually as well as an alliance. Its vote share surged from 16.8% in 2014 to 40.3% in 2019, with parliamentary seats multiplying from 2 to 18. This transformation stemmed from three synergistic drivers: the availability of a substantial anti TMC electorate following the disintegration of the left vote base, the BJP's centralized electoral machinery facilitating hyperlocal campaigning, and the strategic deployment of polarizing narratives framing Muslims as demographic threats and the TMC as anti Hindu. The mainstreaming of previously peripheral Hindu festivals like Ram Navami, transformed into mass political spectacles, symbolized this ascendance. As figure 1, let's see the figure 1. BJP is the yellow, okay? This is 2019 and 2014. Green is Trinamool. INC is red for some reason. Purple is CPM. Why couldn't they use the usual colors? Okay. As figure 1 illustrates, the BJP recorded spectacular electoral expansion between 2014 and 2019, especially in the northern and western districts of the state. This electoral success was, however, ephemeral. The 2021 state elections revealed the fragility of the BJP's gains. Despite serious corruption allegations against the TMC and Modi's continued national prominence, the BJP secured only 77 assembly seats, down from 121 in 2019's assembly segment leads. Its vote share dropping by nearly 3%. Okay, so we are just going to ignore that violence and rigging happened. Okay. This reversal intensified in the 2024 parliamentary elections, where the BJP won merely 12 seats, a loss of 6 from 2019, amid a further 3% vote share decline. Yeah, because a lot of them are dead in 2021. Great. The maps in figure 2, let's see. Okay, 2024 parliamentary elections. Assembly, okay, the left one is acha. The left map is, guys, assembly constituency wise Lok Sabha election result of West Bengal in 2024, comparing it with the assembly elections of 2021. So North Bengal is almost exactly the same. In fact, BJP lost one or two constituencies, lost some in Central Bengal, lost Southwest Bengal, Gaur region, lost some in South, lost some in the East. Okay. The maps in figure 2 are scaled at the level of assembly constituencies and illustrate the retreat of the BJP between 2021 and 2024. Evidently, the TMC further expanded its electoral grip in the northern and western districts. The TMC engineered this containment of the BJP through a sophisticated four-pronged strategy. If one of those four-pronged strategies is not mentioned to be violence and rigging and substituting government officers with IPAC workers, then we are going to have problems having respect for these two scholars. Let's see. So the four-pronged strategy. First, it amplified welfare populism. It amplified welfare populism, transforming targeted cash transfer schemes into instruments of political loyalty. Great. This one actually deserves respect, because this is a pretty harsh way of saying that they are simply bribing voters. They are buying political loyalty in exchange for targeted cash transfer schemes. This is good stuff. Programs like Lokhir Bhandar, women's monthly stipends, Konyashri, financial aid for girls' education, and Duare Sarkar, doorstep service delivery, created a vast constituency of beneficiary citizens. Critically, enhancements to these schemes, such as raising Lokhir Bhandar payouts from 500 to 1000 rupees for general category women and 1000 rupees to 1200 rupees for scheduled caste and scheduled tribe women, directly targeted groups that had shifted towards the BJP in 2019. Second, the TMC weaponized Bengali subnationalism, framing the BJP as Bohiragato, outsiders, hostile to Bengal's linguistic heritage and cultural asmita, pride. Leaders like Mamata Banerjee and Abhishek Banerjee consistently portrayed the BJP as antagonistic to Bengal's ethos, leveraging symbols like Rabindranath and cultural pride to position themselves as defenders of regional autonomy against a homogenizing Hindu nationalism. Third, recognizing the electoral significance of Muslims, nearly 30% of the population, the TMC pursued minority consolidation by positioning itself as the secular bulwark against BJP communalism. And fourth, The TMC's organizational dominance, especially in rural areas, ensured its electoral success. So that ensured does not entail violence or rigging, right? Its transactional networks implemented through local strongman leaders, effectively embedding the party within communities, blunting BJP's attempts at caste communal polarization. Okay, so guys, see, one of these scholars, one of the co-authors of this paper, is an assistant professor in presidency. The other is sitting in Norway. If people like them, forget the presidency guy, Zaad Mahmood. If Niladri Chatterjee sitting in Oslo does not have the balls to mention electoral violence as remotely a factor in West Bengal, then how are BJP ground level Karyakartas going to counter whisper campaign the shit out of Bengal's populace? Forget that. You see the secret to West Bengal. This is the secret. This is what is up. Let me check some comments now. This is very disappointing. Abhay saying the first step to Hindu TFR is rationalize HMA. HMA, what is HMA, Abhay? I don't know what's HMA. Home Ministry, nahi, kya hai HMA? HMA and other anti-man laws. Second, bring UCC. Third, remove population control departments. एक बात है भाई, ये बढ़िया पॉइंट है कि पॉपुलेशन कंट्रोल डिपार्टमेंट तो इमीडिएटली कर सकते हैं विदाउट एनी एक्यूजेशंस ऑफ एनी सॉर्ट ऑफ इल इंटेंशंस एंड स्टफ. इसके लिए पावर चाहिए, पावर है, और कुछ भी नहीं चाहिए. रिमूव पॉपुलेशन कंट्रोल डिपार्टमेंट्स तो अभी कर सकते हैं, बट आई डोंट थिंक द पॉपुलेशन कंट्रोल डिपार्टमेंट्स आर डू दे हैव एनी पॉलिसीज इवन, या फिर कोई बाबू बैठ के ऐसे ही पैसा खा रहा है. ब्रिंग यूसीसी. यूसीसी तो आज नहीं तो कल हो ही जाएगा. ये एचएमए क्या है? हिंदू मैरिज एक्ट. अच्छा, रैशनलाइज हिंदू मैरिज एक्ट एंड एंटीमेन लॉज, ये नहीं होगा, ये तुम भूल जाओ. हमारा WEF का दोस्त जैसा गवर्नमेंट है हमारा भाई, उनसे ये सब नहीं होगा. Another issue is distorted education and real estate market which has inflated the expenses of deregulated. ये भी नहीं होगा भाई. हमको बोलना जरूर चाहिए. आई एम नॉट सेइंग कि feasible नहीं है, therefore बोलो ही मत, but I'm just saying don't hold your breath. This is not happening. Improve police, bureaucratic judiciary, enforcement. अब यहाँ पे प्रॉब्लम है कि improve वर्ड का मतलब क्या है, what does it entail? वहां पे बहुत बहुत घपला है, क्योंकि बहुत सारे लोगों को, इंक्लूडिंग पीपल आई hugely respect for other things, even they believe improving police means simply increasing the number of police. But what we are looking for is behavior change, and that cannot happen with numbers, increasing numbers. तो improve police अगर उसका क्लैरिटी ही नहीं है कि what does it mean to improve police, तो improve police तो भूल ही जाओ. जुडिशियरी एनफोर्समेंट एंड एफिशिएंसी, इसका तो आई डोंट सी हाउ कोई लॉ कैसे हो सकता है. ब्यूरोक्रेटिक तो पॉसिबल है, मगर भाई वो सनातन एसी टेम्परेचर वाले हमारे रास्ते से हटेंगे तब होगा ना जाके. जीरो मेंशन ऑफ वायलेंस टिल नाउ. ऑस्लो में बैठ के पॉलीमेरिस्ट, बूथ कैप्चरिंग, इंटिमिडेशन, नहीं वो सब नहीं होता है. वो ऑस्लो में होता है, यहाँ पे नहीं होता है. UCC is needed instead of HMA. Yo is saying BJP not coming in West Bengal, don't stress out. I agree. Currently, okay, let's see now. Concurrently, the BJP's internal shortcomings accelerated its decline. अच्छा. फिर भी political intimidation और violence factor नहीं है. It's over-reliance on divisive rhetoric. I thought I was not going to mock this paper. I thought I planned कि I'll not use any offensive words. I'll not be sarcastic. I'll be respectful. I'll behave. Yeah. See, I didn't choose the loud, rowdy life. The loud, rowdy life chose me. ये समाज मुझे रहने नहीं देगा, भद्रो. It's over-reliance on divisive rhetoric, accusing the TMC of Muslim appeasement and stoking fears of demographic change, alienated moderate Hindus, while failing to expand beyond its core base. You see, this line is pure horse crap. देखो हॉट शीट से मैंने प्रमोशन किया है, ये प्योर हॉट स्क्रैप है, इसलिए क्योंकि 3 मिनट पहले, 2-3 पैराग्राफ पहले इन्होंने खुद लिखा है कि ये सब करने के वजह से उनका बेस बढ़ा। वो बेस बढ़ के ये कोट एंड कोट ये कोर बेस पे परिणत हो गया। ठीक है, परिणत, परिणत तो वर्ड का कोई हिंदी है क्या? मैं तो कुछ भी संस्कृताइज सुनने को लग रहा है तो मैं उसको हिंदी बना रहा हूं। उसका परिणति ये हुआ कि जो लोग वो प्रोपागेंडा या फिर वो डिस्कोर्स का कंज्यूमर थे कि देखो टीएमसी मुस्लिम अपीजमेंट करता है, डेमोग्राफिक चेंज हो रहा है, उससे ही कोर बेस बढ़ गया। और और 2024 में आके एक्सक्यूज ये दिया जा रहा है या फिर 2022 में कि 2021 के इलेक्शन में ना वोट इसलिए कम हुआ क्योंकि कोर बेस के बियॉन्ड एक्सपैंड नहीं कर पाए, क्योंकि मॉडरेट हिंदू डर गए। तो भाई जो बीजेपी का एंशिएंट कोर बेस था और 2021 में जिन लोगों ने वोट नहीं दिया कि इतना मॉडरेट है, तो बीच के ये लोग क्या थे बीजेपी सपोर्टर बनने से पहले? ये कोर वोटर थे या मॉडरेट थे या सीपीआईएम सपोर्टर थे या तृणमूल सपोर्टर थे? ये एक मिस्टीरियस एक ग्रुप था जो कि 2014-2019 से पहले नहीं था, जो कि कन्विंस हुए ना ये सब डिस्कोर्स से होके, उसके बाद कम हो गया क्योंकि 2021 में जाके लगा नहीं नहीं हम थोड़ा मॉडरेट ज्यादा है, अब ये डिस्कोर्स हमको पसंद नहीं आ रहा है। हमको पसंद आया था 2019 में, इतना पसंद आया कि हम कोर बेस बन गए। उसके बाद 2 साल बाद जाके पता चला नहीं नहीं हम कोर बेस नहीं है, हम मॉडरेट हिंदू हैं। क्या जीनियस आर्ग्यूमेंट है। ओस्लो में बैठ के, वैसे ये लाइन ओस्लो वाले ने नहीं लिखा है, ये किसी और ने लिखा है चिरक्कड़ा इन 2022। Neon, behavior change. We need two things. One is body cameras, which won't work in the current scenario. The current scenario thing that needs to be changed is we need to be able to, as citizens, sue the fuck out of police anytime we want, if only we can hire a lawyer, or even the public prosecutors and stuff. Even the state should allow us a lawyer if we want to pursue cases against the police. If the police is in fact innocent, let them prove it in a court of law. Otherwise, there should be hell to pay for the police officers, which there isn't right now. With that, behavior can change. Organizationally, the party lacked the robust ground-level presence necessary to sustain its 2019 gains. It's, of course, beside the point that a lot of that ground-level presence is dead now in 2021, after 2021. Its state unit was riven by factionalism, poor candidate selection, and inadequate voter outreach compared to the TMC's entrenched machine. The entrenched machine who may or may not have killed a bunch of people. Notably, IPAC, a political consultancy, was employed by the TMC after the 2019 elections to strengthen its organization, political messaging, and electoral calculus. Furthermore, the BJP-led central government's perceived failures that included rising unemployment, persistent inflation, and agrarian distress diminished Modi's appeal and undercut the party's governance narrative. Excuse me. ये rising unemployment में थोड़ा तो घपला है। एक है कि a lot of people don't want to do jobs, they are doing stuff of their own. But more importantly, where BJP does share some blame, वो है कि बाबुक्रेसी का पड़ काट के तुमको और भी एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेट करना चाहिए था, और भी इन्वेस्टमेंट या फिर स्टार्टअप्स या फिर कंपनीज एक्सेलिंग, वो सब एनवायरनमेंट फॉस्टर करना चाहिए था, जो नहीं किया गया, इसलिए अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट तो हुआ ही। इतने सारे ग्रेजुएट्स निकल रहे हैं हर साल। The trajectory of the BJP in West Bengal indicates that political Hindutva will often thrive amidst symbolic vacuums and national waves, but may struggle or even falter when confronted with regionally well-entrenched parties representing identity-based welfare governance. Very factual, very accurate, and very true, unfortunately. Its surge required a confluence of enabling conditions: a weakened left, Modi's popularity, and communal polarization. The TMC's counter strategy of subnationalist welfareism, however, exposed its vulnerability. The BJP is homogenizing Hindu nationalist narrative clashed with Bengal's historically syncretic culture. Bengal syncretic culture that led to the partition. And the TMC's effective claim to represent a distinct Bengali identity. This they were successful, so this sentence is correct. A distinct Bengali identity grounded in linguistic pride and populist welfare, couched in the language of distributive justice. Yeah, fair. However, as we show below, the BJP's electoral decline should not be read as a wholesale rejection of Hindutva. Cultural Hindutva in West Bengal, the subterranean entrenchment. So now we get to the four ditches of RSS. Electoral contraction of the BJP in West Bengal post 2019 obscures a profound ideological reality. Cultural Hindutva has achieved unprecedented institutional entrenchment precisely during the period of electoral backsliding. Cultural Hindutva embodies the broader sociocultural aspects that seek to define Indian identity through a Hindu-centric lens, instill Hindu religious values, consolidate diverse sects and castes, and promote Hindu symbols while marginalizing minorities. I see. This expression of cultural Hindutva is manifested in various ways, including revival of Hindu traditions such as religious congregations, promotion of cow protection, reshaping the pedagogy of Indian history and culture to promote a Hindu-centric narrative, and commodification of Hindu cultural resources. You see, I've realized something in the last few days. Remember, I was telling you guys some about Facebook status that went viral from a few boomer right wingers, both Bengali and non-Bengali, but all of whom live outside Bengal. That here are 16 and 17 do's and don'ts for every Hindu kid or parent today to follow in order to become better Hindus, which will lead to a very strengthened Hindutva and great force and positive outcomes for the country, blah, blah, blah. The problem was that out of those 16, 17 points, I thought I saw almost all of them are followed by almost pretty much every Trinamool supporter in West Bengal. So, yeah, that might be relevant for the only and only the urban centers of India, which is stuff like, yeah, please follow astrology, believe in astrology, do regular puja part, etc. The problem is the people who are writing this stuff and sharing around this stuff and thinking this will lead to something significant or this is what is lacking in the country, really. They are the ones now doing the same mistake which they accuse people like us of always making, okay? Which is they are in their urban echo chamber and all they see are atheist woke kids around them, only them, in their society campuses, etc. Okay? कि हर जगह पे कोई छोटे कपड़े पहन के घूम रहा है, कोई गिटार बजा रहा है, किसी के अजीब तरह के बाल है, कोई ट्रांसजेंडर बन रहा है, हर वक्त इंग्लिश में बात करता है, बहुत दारू पीता है, स्मोक करता है, गांजा खाता है, पीता है, एक्सेट्रा. वैसे लोग इनको देखने को मिल रहे हैं अर्बन सेंटर्स में, इसलिए इनको लग रहा है कि इसका अपोजिट ये जो 16-17 पॉइंट्स हैं वो करते हैं और इनको लग रहा है कि पूरा का पूरा देश ऐसा ही है और पूरा का पूरा देश वोक है, पूरा का पूरा देश को सिर्फ ज्यादा एस्ट्रोलॉजी और पूजा पाठ करना चाहिए, नहीं उसके बाद सब ठीक हो जाएगा. और उनको देयरफॉर बाय एक्सटेंशन ये लग रहा है कि पूरा का पूरा देश एस्ट्रोलॉजी में नहीं बिलीव करता है, नहीं पूजा पाठ करता है. ओके, सो यू सी अर्बन इको चेंबर्स में ये अंकल जी खुद बैठे हैं, हमको बोल रहे हैं कि देखो अर्बन सेंटर से निकलो, देखो पूरा देश कैसा है, रियल इंडिया लिव्स इन द विलेजेस एक्सेट्रा. इन लोगों को कुछ नहीं पता है पूरे देश के बारे में, अर्बन सेंटर्स के बारे में, अर्बन सेंटर्स के बाहर के बारे में और स्पेशली बंगाल के बारे में. I mean, Ravan also worshipped Shiv, but doesn't mean he was good. Same thing is happening now. But Apurvo, you are doing missionary propaganda, you see. Let's see, what was Barbarika saying? On a side note, if there's a change in government, do you think the state should pay for... Guys, after all, Barbarika, libertarianism is the way. So no, private institutions, तुमको खुद के पैसे से अपना PTSD ट्रीटमेंट करवाना चाहिए. के इज सेइंग विलेजेस से ही तो निकलना है. हाँ, ये एक अजीब घपला है डिस्कोर्स में. पहले बोलेंगे कि देखो एंशिएंट इंडिया कितना अर्बनाइज था, कितना मॉडर्न था, कितना एडवांस था, कितना डेवलप्ड था. तो अर्बनाइजेशन अगर 2000 साल पहले हुआ हो तो वो बढ़िया है. अगर आज अर्बनाइजेशन का बात करें तब बढ़िया नहीं है, क्योंकि रियल इंडिया लिव्स इन द विलेजेस, और वो समहाउ कॉम्प्लीमेंट भी है कि रियल इंडिया अर्बन एरियाज में नहीं पहुंचा है। वो उनके आइडिया ऑफ रियल इंडिया एग्जिस्ट इन देयर विलेजेस। ओ माय गॉड। तो 2025 में विलेजेस बढ़िया है, 2025 बीसी में अर्बन सेंटर्स बढ़िया है। द टी इन पीटीएसडी, अच्छा okay, let's see. This expression of cultural Hindutva is manifested in various ways, including revival of Hindu traditions such as religious congregations, promotion of yeah, ye to ho gaya. The RSS and its affiliates serve as the principal organization for Hindutva's propagation, and cultural Hindutva provides the bedrock of political Hindutva. Really. The resilience of kya likh raha hai? The resilience of cultural Hindutva in West Bengal stems, as we show next, from historical continuity, strategic institutional expansion, and the TMC's governance model, which inadvertently normalizes this framework. That I will agree. Yes, there's no difference between I think integral humanism, socialism, and Trinamool's policies. Oh wait, they would say that no, Muslims shouldn't get those benefits. In that sense, it's probably different. Uh, I don't think integral humanism says that benefits should not go to Muslims. Historical legitimacy of Hindutva in Bengal. Cultural Hindutva's historical legitimacy in Bengal predates the BJP's rise by well over a century. Hindutva as an ideology has its roots in the late 19th and early 20th century revivalist movements such as the Arya Samaj that sought to reform and promote a Hindu identity. As Ashish Nandi reminds us, Hindu nationalism has been present in Bengal since the 19th century, with influential figures like Keshav Boliram Hegdewar. Was he from Bengal? Shyam Prasad Mukherjee and Nirmal Chandra Chatterjee, never heard of him, instrumental in shaping the Hindu nationalist movement. The RSS had sustained operations even during the left front era through discrete shakhas in tribal borderlands, framing social service as cultural preservation. The left front's decades-long political dominance to some extent muted the RSS's expansion. But its many affiliate organizations such as the VHP, Vidya Bharati, Vanvasi Kalyan Ashram, Ekal Abhiyan, and Seva Bharati continued to work in the state. This persistence reflects cultural Hindutva's adaptive capacity. It flourishes through institutional work even when political avenues are narrow. Yeah, this of course is might be a compliment for the 4D chess. In fact, the Sang's approach to social and cultural work reflects its long durée vision. Yeah, हजार साल रहना चाहिए. And strategy for realizing a Hindu Rashtra that has historically prioritized social work over state capture. Idiots. Institutional entrenchment. Despite the BJP's electoral setbacks, the RSS and its affiliates continue to expand their presence in West Bengal through their shakhas, social service initiatives, and religious programs. तो बाकी सब राजवाज कर ले, बाकी सब इंस्टीट्यूशंस चला ले, बाकी सब गवर्नमेंट हैंडल कर ले, हम सिर्फ सेवा 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 ही करते रहेंगे ऐसे लोगों के लिए जिनके लिए वो सब चीज गवर्नमेंट को करना चाहिए था, जिसके लिए बाकी सब ने ऑलरेडी गवर्नमेंट को टैक्स दे के रखा है. जीनियस. Despite the BJP's electoral setbacks, the RSS and its affiliates continue to expand their presence in West Bengal through their shakhas, social service initiatives, and religious programs. What distinguishes the post-2014 period is not the sudden appearance of Hindutva in Bengal, but the scale and visibility of its institutional expansion. Since 2011, RSS-affiliated organizations have accelerated educational, healthcare, and community development initiatives to deepen their influence. The number of RSS shakhas has doubled from 1,000 in 2011 to nearly 2,000 in 2024. RSS-run schools, Saraswati Vidya Mandirs, have increased from 100 to over 300, while permanent social service projects have grown from under 100 to more than 600. वाह वाह. तो जिन हिंदू अमीर लोगों के डोनेशंस पे ये सोशल सर्विसेज चल रहे हैं, 100 से जो 600 हुए हैं, उनको मैं बोलना चाहता हूँ कि देखिए, आप लोग सबसे ज्यादा टैक्स देते हैं और फिर ये डोनेशंस भी दे रहे हैं, जबकि यही सेम मैन पावर, एनर्जी, रिसोर्सेस सब इस पे देना चाहिए था कि हटो स्टेट पावर से और टैक्स जो मिल रहा है उससे अगर वेलफेयर करना है तो करो, नहीं तो भागो, नहीं तो गद्दी छोड़ो। हम लोग टैक्स भी देंगे, वो बाबू और नेता बैठ के खाएगा, फिर डोनेशन भी देंगे। ये है जीनियस स्ट्रेटेजी ऑफ सर्वाइविंग फॉर थाउजेंड्स ऑफ इयर्स। चलो ठीक है, अब ऑपोजिट में थे हिंदू महासभा, सावरकर, वो एग्जिस्ट ही नहीं कि ये एग्जिस्ट कर गए। अब एग्जिस्टेंस एट द कॉस्ट ऑफ व्हाट? एग्जिस्टेंस एट द कॉस्ट ऑफ एवरीथिंग एल्स। The approach to reform must be more accountability of government servants towards masses. Yes. के सिंह, मेरे पापा मम्मी दोनों सरस्वती शिशु मंदिर से ही पढ़े थे. इट यूज टू बी कंसिडर्ड द बेस्ट. होली काउ, आई सी. ओह, ऐसा तो बंगाल में था भी नहीं कभी. बंगाल के बेस्ट स्कूल्स आर द कॉन्वेंट्स, साउथ पॉइंट एंड रामकृष्ण मिशन. कौन से रीजन में के? The RSS has also deepened its engagement with Hindu institutions such as the Bharat Sevashram Sangho and even the Ramakrishna Mission, inviting its swamis to RSS workshops. Strategically, the RSS has focused much of its work on 4 socio-economically marginalized regions. Marginalized because the government was marginalizing them. So we go there with other people's donations and let the government off the hook. Let the politicians off the hook and they don't get accountability. To be fair to RSS here, they if they press too hard on those issues, a lot more of them, or I don't think they've gotten murdered to that extent as they have in Kerala. But yes, there would be Kerala-like deaths of RSS workers if they did anything other than social work. तो चलो ठीक है, सोशल वर्क करके जिंदा तो रहते हैं. अल्टीमेटली भला तो कुछ लोगों का हुआ ही. प्रॉब्लम है कि पूरा का पूरा एक चूतिया मादरचोद सिस्टम के बेसिस पे हो रहा है, सिस्टम के एग्जिस्टेंस के बाद हो रहा है, वो प्रॉब्लम है. मगर गरीबों का भला तो जरूर हो रहा है. मगर ये भी फैक्टर है कि इस वजह से ये हमेशा गरीब ही रहेंगे. Strategically, the RSS has focused much of its work on 4 socio-economically marginalized regions, namely Jangal Mahal, North Bengal, the Sundarbans in the southeast, and areas bordering Bangladesh. And tellingly, the sites of this RSS grassroots work coincide to a high degree with the constituencies where the BJP had made the most significant electoral inroads. So you see the 4 ditches bore fruits. Apurva, the end goal is survival somehow. টুয়ার্ডস ট্রুথ ইজ সেইং শ্যামাপ্রসাদকে হিন্দুত্বার এক বিশাল ফিগার হয়তো বলাই যায়, কারণ সে ওয়েস্ট বেঙ্গলকে স্টেট ফর হিন্দু ডিক্লেয়ার করেছিল. হিন্দুত্বা যা থিওরিটিক্যাল ছিল তা মোস্ট ইনফ্লুয়েন্সিয়াল. তো ভাই, টুয়ার্ডস ট্রুথ, শ্যামাপ্রসাদ ওয়াজ ফ্রম হিন্দু মহাসভা. হিন্দু মহাসভা ওয়াজ সাভারকার's idea. सावरकर हैंडपिक्ड श्यामा प्रसाद. नहीं तो वो भी 1000 ईयर सर्वाइवल और नेगोशिएशंस में बैठे रहते. if Shyama Prasad was not from Hindu Mahasabha, he would probably say, ठीक है, छोड़ो ये हिंदू होमलैंड क्या है, ये बांग्लादेश बन जाने दो, बांग्लादेश में हम सर्वाइव करेंगे without pissing anyone off. We will survive. There would be VHP and Bharat Sevashram Sanghos in many places in Bangladesh, many villages in Bangladesh, as there exists ISKCON even today. You will just have to say that no harm is befalling the Hindus in Bangladesh. वो बोल तो हो जाएगा. तुम अपना चैरिटी करते रहो, सरकार को क्या है? सरकार तो टैक्स खाके राशन देना था, फ्रीबीज देना था, वो ना दे के बच भी जाएगा. तुम अपना सोशल वर्क करते भी रहोगे. सबको इट्स विन विन फॉर एवरीवन except IQ. No, he left Mahasabha. When did he leave Mahasabha? Before or after Savarkar picked him? Where did he get trained? Apurva is saying, no, you are saying RSS is doing societal work but can't do anything more. What is that more? Oh, I'm saying whatever was all the energy, time, resources, manpower that they spent in social works should have been spent on opposing the government. Informing. They want to inform people. No. They should have gone to the ground level and gone on informing people that this is not the way to live. Freebies are bad. देखो ये जो फ्रीबीज को हम अच्छा बोलते हैं इंटीग्रल ह्यूमनिज्म के नाम से, वो तो सरकार को करना चाहिए था क्योंकि सरकार इसका टैक्स लेती है। अब ये सिचुएशन में तुम क्यों हो के हमको आके सोशल वर्क करना पड़ रहा है? Sudeep Singh, didn't Shyama Prasad do Hindu homeland activism after he left Mahasabha? He said Mahasabha is too orthodox. And what kind of orthodox was Hindu Mahasabha? Did he say that Hindu Mahasabha did not want a Hindu homeland? Yes, he was considered to be kind of the congressman in Hindu Mahasabha. Like Vallabhbhai Patel was considered the Hindu Mahasabha man in Congress. But I'm trying to ask you, I'm trying to find out from you, what part of Hindu Mahasabha or what aspects of Hindu Mahasabha was a hindrance in his thought process? Another vital arena of cultural entrenchment has been religious festivals. Events such as Ram Navami and Hanuman Jayanti, once peripheral to Bengali Hindu traditions, have been strategically foregrounded as community mobilization platforms. These festivals function not only as religious celebrations but as performative sites for articulating a Hindutva inflected Bengali identity. The festivals serve as platforms for mass mobilization, disseminating Hindu unity narratives and promoting the idea that Hindus are under threat. Some affiliates like VHP, Bajrang Dal, or BJP local units orchestrate the festivals and yatras. Of course, no stones are ever thrown on them. They are not never under attack. They are never under attack, of course. They obtain police or court clearances for processions, expand routes through mixed localities, and build an annual program consisting of Shobha Yatras, grand processions, motorbike rallies, weapon display processions with saffron flags, cutouts of Ram and Hanuman, and chants of Jai Shri Ram as unifying symbols. Nath notes, some scholar, notes how Bengal's Ram Navami rallies consciously plug local idioms into a pan-Hindu nationalist aesthetic. Bharat Mata banners, martial masculinity, and a virile and muscular Ram than the gentler Kritibash Ram of Bengali lore. The mobilization is hyper-local and youth-centric, with prolific use of social media, including WhatsApp, Facebook groups, to fix assembly points, dress codes, and slogans. Overall, the political message in these festivals revolves around a few core ideas, namely, the demographic anxiety of Hindus being overtaken by Muslims through population growth and infiltration, the anti Hindu appeasement politics of non BJP parties, and pseudo secularism, and the narrative of cultural and national restoration urging Hindus to unite and protect their families and culture. The discursive move is to brand TMC as anti Hindu while claiming the BJP RSS as protectors of Bengali Hindu pride. TMC's governance model in normalizing cultural Hindutva. Paradoxically, despite its anti BJP positioning, the incumbent TMC has contributed to normalizing Hindutva idioms through symbiotic religious gestures, selective silence on communal issues, and cautious alignment with dominant cultural sentiments. The TMC has consciously and purposefully blurred the boundary between secular populism and soft cultural nationalism. This provides cultural Hindutva with a wider discursive space and undermines sharp oppositional binaries between secular and communal politics. The TMC's style of governance is largely devoid of ideological moodings and appeals to religious and community identity to practice a form of governmentality based on welfare patronage. Since coming to power in 2011, the TMC has created a range of community specific development boards, such as for Lepchas, Tamangs, Rajbongshis, and Motuas, to deliver targeted welfare while consolidating political support. Such strategies of community appeasement while addressing representation also weaken the foundations of secularism in the state as religious and ethnic markers become central to formulation of developmental policies. The focus on community and identity based politics has enabled the RSS's expansion by imbuing this form of politics with a higher degree of acceptability. Mamata Banerjee and other leaders routinely inaugurate Durga Puja pandals, organize religious carnivals, invoke religious idioms in political speeches, and maintain selective silence on communal flashpoints. By accommodating certain cultural sentiments like aligning with Ramnavami processions or deploying Tagore and Vivekananda to frame Bengali pride, the TMC inadvertently widens the discursive space for Hindutva, rendering its idioms part of mainstream politics. Yeah, for example, this has been my qualm with TMC even when I was a uh, staunch anti-right wing guy myself, that yes, you guys, let's say, find so many excuses to criticize or oppose Biharis. The one place where it would really help opposing Chhat Puja is allowing them to um, throw all the Chhat Puja samagri into the Ravindra Sarovar lake. It's a lake. It can't go anywhere. Nobody cleans it. It can't flow out anywhere. And they are allowed to repeatedly every year throw all that samagri into the lake. Then this time around again, in my neighborhood, the MLA, this Shabhapati, that Shabhapati, councillor, everyone joined Chhat Puja celebrations and again threw everything in a local pond. And the MLA even came for supervising and stuff the day before, the morning, etc. Okay, that okay. Are you guys happy with the all the arrangements we have done, guys? All the Biharis had had, let's say, gathered there. They were having conversations in Bengali. The Trinamool guys announcing the arrival of the MLA, etc. Even he was announcing in broken Hindi, not even expecting them to assimilate or speak in Bengali, etc. बढ़िया बढ़िया बिहारी सेलिब्रेशन चला और पॉन्ट का माँ बहन हो गया. अपूर्वो इज सेइंग दे कैन डू इट इन गंगा ना. देखो भाई अपूर्वो, मन में भक्ति हो तो कुछ भी गंगा बन जाता है. तो रविंद्र सरोवर भी गंगा ही है भक्ति के लिए. Bhattacharya and Nath show how the TMC's populist mobilizations and critiques of the left have at times co-opted Hindu cultural expressions, yes, to consolidate its vote bank and invoked narratives that overlap with Hindu nationalist rhetoric, thereby diluting secular discourses. Thus, Bengal demonstrates how cultural Hindutva is co-produced by proponents and opponents alike. The BJP and RSS weaponize festivals and schools to portray Hindus as under threat, while the TMC's transactional populism and religious performativity naturalize these idioms within the fabric of everyday politics. Conclusion. The BJP's regression to 12 parliamentary seats in 2024 does not signify the decline of Hindutva in West Bengal. As we show, the TMC's containment of political Hindutva through linguistic subnationalism and transactional welfare patronage, while electorally successful, has inadvertently accelerated ideological permeation beyond the ballot box. The spread of cultural Hindutva that prioritizes long-term cultural transformation over immediate electoral gains, reshaping Hindu hearts and minds, and focusing on hegemonic cultural control as the bedrock for political success, continues unabated. Three interdependent dynamics define the unfolding political transformation. First, political Hindutva's fragility stems from its dependence on oppositional vacuums and polarizing rhetoric, a tactic neutralized by the TMC's regional populism. Second, cultural Hindutva thrives precisely because it transcends electoral cycles. The RSS's efforts at grassroots organizations illustrate its autonomous institutional momentum. Third, the TMC's governance sustains this momentum. Its performative religiosity blurs secular boundaries, while its patron-client model elevates immediate electoral calculus over ideological coherence. Well said. The developments reflect broader pattern observed elsewhere, which is the rise of cultural Hindutva often occurs in response to the perceived failure of secularism, thereby promoting a revivalist approach that seeks to embed Hindu culture firmly within the national identity. The outcome is a pervasive subterranean entrenchment, reshaping social consciousness through schools, festivals, and service networks. These concerted efforts have produced significant effects, notably the gradual normalization of Hindutva in public discourse, yes, and the weakening of secular leftist cultural hegemony traditionally dominant in Bengal. I don't think that has happened all that much. Both have kind of met in the middle, even if it is electorally unsuccessful. Movements like Hindutva operate through dual registers, their visible electoral ambitions obscuring patient cultural groundwork that transforms social consciousness. When regional parties weaponize identity for short term gain, they risk becoming unwitting architects of majoritarianism they oppose, which probably is a myth to begin with. If you all have read Dr. Kaushik Gangopadhyay's book on majoritarianism, some of the festivals in Bengal, once marginal to local tradition, now stands as monuments to this dialectic. Okay, then what was Kolkata celebration, overwhelming celebration of Halloween yesterday? What was that? What is the gigantic um, crowds gathering on Christmas Day in Park Street? What are they? They were marginal ones, right? Their reinvention as political spectacles reflects not ideological victory but ideological normalization. The implications resonate beyond Bengal. Electoral outcomes alone cannot gauge ideological resilience where cultural projects dig trenches in civil society. Ultimately, this is a narrative of relocation, not retreat. This paper is the outcome of the international seminar Relocations of Hindutva organized by Kenneth Bo Nielsen. Holy cow. You guys are some of my older viewers. Do you all remember Kenneth Bo Nielsen? Isn't this the guy who writes papers on Abhishek Banerjee about how awesome he is? This is the guy, right? Whom we were calling the Viking Trinamool guy. Let me check. Kenneth Bo. Yes, this is the guy. I did not know I'm reading a paper uh, which was presented in a seminar organized by Kenneth Bo Nielsen. He's. No, I can't be sued. Anyway. And hosted by the University of Oslo. भाई देखो तृणमूल का पहुंच कहाँ तक है. The authors are thankful. इसीलिए भाई कोई political violence नहीं है. इसीलिए आई वॉज वंडरिंग कि सारा का सारा ये फैक्टर वो फैक्टर सोशोलॉजिकल फैक्टर एंथ्रोपोलॉजिकल फैक्टर कल्चरल फैक्टर इकोनॉमिक फैक्टर लिंग्विस्टिक फैक्टर सब निकाला. पॉलिटिकल वायलेंस कहाँ गया? मेंशन ही नहीं है. हाउ? बिकॉज केनेथ बो नियल्सन. आज अगर वाइकिंग जिंदा होते. The authors are thankful to the organizers of the conference and to Harold Engels and Rudd, another Viking guy, the two anonymous reviewers, the editors of this special issue, and the Forum for Development Studies journal for their constructive feedback. We also express our sincere gratitude to Sutirtha Samanta and Aditya Chakraborty for helping us prepare the maps used in the article. No potential conflict of interest was reported by the authors. I see. Let's see who is Niladri Chatterjee. Senior lecturer in history at the Department of Cultural Sciences and member of the Center for Colonial and Post-Colonial Studies, Linnaeus University, Sweden. He is also an affiliated researcher, Department of Culture Studies and Oriental Languages, University of Oslo, Norway. Chatterjee regularly publishes research articles and opinions in various international peer-reviewed. His research interests include health and disaster politics, global history, colonial and post-colonial studies, and South Asian history, politics, and culture. Zaad Mahmood is an associate professor at the Department of Political Science in Presidency. His research interests include political economy, focusing on public policy, capital-labor interaction, work and its politics, and Indian politics. He has published in journals like Business and Politics, Journal of South Asian Development, Studies in Indian Politics, Indian Journal of Labor Economics, and Industrial Law Journal. Let me see some comments now. After that, I'll end the live stream and come back within half an hour to discuss Max Weber's book. Barbarka is saying BBK basically went whining about Sati isn't grabbing eyeballs anymore. So let's chalo witch burning celebrate karte hain. Otishman is saying, I don't know how this type of Indians who live outside of India paint BJP and RSS as some kind of genius propagandist of ideology, but TMC have ideology vacuum within them. That I was flabbergasted when some kids came to my apartment a few days ago saying Happy Halloween. That is not the question, Neon. The question is, did you trick or treat them? I mean, did they trick or treat you? Did you trick them or did you give them a treat? And if yes, did you give them sweets or do you give them something sattvic? That's one way to foster a syncretic identity, right? Hindutva bhi hoga, Halloween bhi hoga. Halloween Hindutva. कि जब भी तुम आओगे तुमको प्रसाद दिया जाएगा किसी भगवान का. ट्रिक और ट्रीट वही होगा. मंदिर जैसे वही बनना था. तो ट्रिक और ट्रीट वहीं पे होगा, हिंदुत्वा में ही होगा. Let's see some more comments. I will have a smoke. Smoking is injurious to health, guys. Smoking causes cancer. Do not do this at home. I don't keep sweets in my house. क्या हेलोवीन सेलिब्रेट करेगा रे तू? या गिव देम तेलमुड़ी चनाचूर. ऐसे ही भगा दिया बच्चों को. But what do you need? What do you need to be on to go? Hindus are acting Hindu. There must be a sinister third party at work. They have that low of a view of Hindus that they think that it cannot happen without a third party. দিতে পারলে খালি চিনি দিতে পারি. ওয়েস্ট বেঙ্গলের জিডিপি এত নেমে গেছে নাকি? বাচ্চারা আসলে চিনি দিয়ে বাড়ি পাঠিয়ে দেবে, অন্তত নকুলদানা. Yeah, I'll check some more comments now. RSS is not registered as legal society or organization under any statutory framework. It is not subject to formal accountability such as financial audits, public disclosures, or legal responsibility for the funds. Yes. Yeah, I'll take up Shudip's comments. Yeah, Shudip is saying, I don't know, I haven't read in depth. I think it's their opposition to Bengali and women education, something along those. You're probably wrong. Even I haven't read the exact details of opposition, but this can't be it, because Savarkar was the president when this during this era when this might have happened. How would women's education be opposed by Savarkar? How would Savarkar oppose Bengali? Firstly, he was pretty much no, I don't want to piss off Marathis too much, but he really liked Bengal and Bengalis, meaning Brahmins, Vaidyas, Kaisas of Kolkata. And he in fact writes jokingly to his brother once that he was studying in Kolkata. He says, hey, did you find some Bengali girl? She might have captured your, stolen your heart, etc. But I'm just joking. I'm just kidding. Even if that happens, we'd be happy to have a Bengali sister-in-law. Come back soon, etc. So I don't see how Savarkar would be opposing Bengali and women's education. कमली सिंह, कद्दू का हलवा खिलानी चाहिए भगवान को छटाने के बाद for Halloween. That's how you Sanatanify it. Yeah, that is what I'm talking about. Need an article on how Halloween propagates superstitions and obesity. Bungarian, the thing you are talking about, that I've never heard. I'll have to find out. Will SIR be any help to BJP to get power? I don't think so. At least it was children in your case. Here, people who are old enough to have a couple of kids were the ones celebrating. Okay, Shudip is saying, I actually mixed up some criticism he made against Bengali 2 regionalist guys. I see. I was so angry since it was actually Jagadhatri Puja that only when I heard puja drums outside I could sleep. Halloween mein drums hoga. It is needed only for search operations, arrests, etc., not regular work. Also, health cam is not mandatory. Even mobile phone recording is also acceptable. Let's see what are they discussing. Yeah, let's get to the Abhay and Sudeep discussion. If the body camera thing is implemented, the onus of absence of recording must be on cops agencies. Yes. Nagpur, okay. You need to have accountability incentives there, and caps don't understand that profit incentive won't work here because it's not a business. The way is to have a mechanism where wrongdoers are held accountable and punished. Some of it has been done today. For example, they can't deny a normal RTI inquiry. Similarly, in other cases also, such mechanisms need to be made. But some RTI inquiries are denied, not just the national security ones. The approach to reform must be more accountability of government servants towards the masses. Hazar nahi, Anant Kal, yeah. Hegrawar was Anushilan Samiti operative, I see. अर्बनाइजेशन की वजह से ही गुजरात में बीजेपी नहीं जाएगी बट यूपी में जा सकती है लाइक 2024 जनरल इलेक्शंस या आई कीप हियरिंग दैट फ्रॉम अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल फ्रॉम टाइम टू टाइम Savarkar basically said Muslims in India should be treated in a manner akin to how black people were treated as a minority group in the United States in an interview during 1942. I see. Um, when? Which era of black people? So, not slavery, right? Meaning they should not have voting rights. Okay, yeah. If that is what he meant, yeah, then that is somewhat of a problem. The main criticism of Savarkar that can be made, which is not made by any anti-Savarkarite guy, is that his opinion was that non-Hindus can declare their loyalty to India, and then they can have all the rights for that Savarkar is proposing only for Hindus. The problem is how do you gauge that? How do you gauge it? How do you gauge loyalty? फ्लैग के सामने खड़े हो जाएंगे, जो टेररिस्ट है वो भी खड़ा हो जाएगा, बचना तो है वो। ये सब लोग निजन है, इन सब लोगों का तो मॉरलिटी अलग है। मॉरलिटी ये सब नहीं है कि अभी मुझे मॉरल होने का उपाधि चाहिए। मॉरल है कि जीतना है, तो अगर जीतना है तो कैसे गेज कर पाएंगे? व्हाट डू यू गिव ट्रिक और ट्रीटर्स? लड्डू और समथिंग? या लड्डू। How do we measure assimilation? That can be measured. Let's say someone is writing a paper intending to quantify assimilation. They can have 5-6 clear metrics कि देखो अगर ड्रेसिंग सेंस ऐसा है, भाषा डायलेक्ट ऐसा है, वर्ड चॉइसेस ऐसा है, वो सबसे हो जाएगा। वो एसिमिलेशन तो बंगाल में मुस्लिम्स का एक्चुअली चल ही रहा था आफ्टर इन द पोस्ट पार्टीशन एरा। तो रिसेंटली घूम गया आफ्टर पेट्रो डॉलर केम इन टू दीज सेटलर कॉलोनियल कंट्रीज के you wouldn't be able to distinguish a Muslim Bengali from a Hindu Bengali in Bengal, even in many places in Bangladesh. That has changed now. What's your opinion on Sonar Bangla being opposed by Assam BJP in Barak Valley? Clearly, BJP leaders lack knowledge of history and leadership. That was a tough sell. Yes. Wait, I'll comment on it after I finish this cigarette. This is the second time Himanta Biswa Sharma has done something that clearly helps Trinamool, or if not, at least damages BJP's reputation in Bengal a little. So first we need to think or ask around about whether there's a conspiracy theory to be observed there. And if not, if in fact there is no conspiracy theory, then we can justify it, Srijan, saying that, well, he's the chief minister of that state, he needs to be in power, so that discourse, that those bhashanbazis work there, तो उसको करना था, वहां पे कर दिए। नरेंद्र मोदी जब बंगाल में आए तो वहां पे खुद अमर सोनार बांग्ला चांट कर लिए, पाठ कर लिए। तो निजन पॉलिटिक्स ही है वो अल्टीमेटली। Okay then. Thanks guys for joining right now. Coming back very soon with Max Weber's book on India. Bye bye. on Hinduism and Buddhism. It's just on Hinduism. I forgot. Kitna din ho gaye? Haan, religions of India. Yes. Bye bye, guys. See you soon.